Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Wow, got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. And, we're going to be talking about things that I guess we're getting further and further away. Talking about generations to come, past generations, and what we need to understand along with our next generations, our youth and young adults need to understand exactly what took us where we at right now, where we came from, and why it's so important to understand generations. So I'm excited about this, Michelle. How you doing? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm excited about this too. This guest, he's such a favorite guest of ours, and he's doing so many incredible things. But, generations, sometimes being understand our parents' generation and so on and so on, and just the things that they experience and how they interact, their values and et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to be interesting to understand and really kind of dig in deep to even the younger generations, why they do, why they think the way they do. And I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. So Todd, I think, man, I'm ready to get.
Yeah, we're getting ready here. Rock and roll here in 2 seconds.
All right.
It's Your Life is sponsored by James J.C. Cooley.
Doctor James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I hope 4th of July just went by, and wow, Michelle and I avoided all of the barbecue and a lot of the bad foods out there. I wanted some, but I wanted some barbecue. I wanted some brisket. I had to have me some chicken, but it just I hope 4th of July. A lot of people don't even know what that means. 4th of July is Independence Day, where we fought to stay independent, where we fought for democracy, where we fought to have our own country. So it's important. How you doing, Todd? How you doing today, man?
I'm always good. Even better when I get to be a part of this show. And oh man, what a great guest, Dr. Terry Spain. I can't wait to hear what he's got in store for us today.
Man, that guy right there is so brilliant, man. So brilliant and so young. Just a wealth of knowledge.
And he's done so much. He is young and he's done so much. He's done more in his lifetime than, most people ever get to do. So very impressive, hardworking fella.
But guess what, Todd? He is just starting. At least that's what he said, because he is doing so many great things, and he keep expanding his horizon. So I am extremely excited about the topic that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about understanding generations. And then Michelle, you get a chance to introduce it again. But I think that has gotten away from many of us, and we need to kind of wheel that back in and understand that there is change in each generation, and that we need to stay abreast, and we need to accept change as it goes. Dr. Michelle Cooley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, I'm excited about this topic. Of course, Todd already said the guest, Dr. Terry Spain. That's one of my favorites of all times. And, I tell you, I learned so much from him, and he's just a wealth of knowledge. So how's your day going so far, Dr. Cooley?
It's going great. I can't wait to introduce the guest and just talk about the highlights we're going to discuss on the show today.
I think, Todd, I think that was a jab that Michelle just threw to me. I can't wait to introduce the guest.
Sorry for stepping on your feet there, Michelle.
Hey, Todd, she get a little jealous of that because, plus we know this great guest, and I can't wait for you to introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely magnificent, wonderful, wonderful guest of ours.
Well, yes. Well, the title of today's show is called Understanding Generations. And we're having a sit down discussion with Dr. Terry Spain. He's a motivational speaker, author, CEO, and a military veteran. He's going to discuss defining the generations, their characteristics and influences, intergenerational dynamics in the workplace, generational shifts and technology, adoption and usage, cultural and social values, evolution, impact, generational impact on society, personal experiences, his reflections. So again, he is the CEO of Terry Spain Consulting LLC, specializing in diversity and leadership training, motivational speaking, mentoring, and team building. With a distinguished 21-year career in the United States Navy, he served as an instructor for the Senior Leadership Development Branch of the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute in Patrick Air Force Base, Florida, before retiring. He, as a dedicated pillar in the community, he serves as the Veterans Committee Chairman for the NAACP Central Brevet Branch in Florida, Director of Social Action for Kappa Chi Sigma Chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and a board member for the Bob Feller Act of Valor Foundation, supporting veterans and their families. He's also a highly experienced sports commentator, providing expert coverage of various professional sports leagues, including the NBA, NFL, NCAA, and other elite athletic competitions. You know what? There's so much to talk about this amazing guest. So please welcome back to the show, Dr. Terry Spain.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anytime I get an opportunity to be a part of the JC Cooley Show, I'm all in. So I definitely appreciate you all for having me today too. So I'm excited.
Man, we're excited to have you back, man. A little disappointed you're gonna miss Hot Topics this Friday, but I tell you, you'll be there for next month Hot Topics.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Man, every time I chat with you, man, you're doing something different. You're doing so many other different things. Either you in the NBA, doing North Carolina basketball, or you doing all type of stuff. So Tim, can you tell our viewers and listeners what have you been doing lately, and what's on the rise?
Yeah, I've definitely been on the go. I'm extremely blessed and grateful to have all the opportunities that are coming my way. But one of the things I want to announce, since this is the JC Cooley Show, I got something that I haven't put out yet on any platform. So I'm going to do it here because you my guy, JC. So I got to put it here. But I'm actually going to be speaking at the Blacks in Government conference that we're having in Tampa on this very topic that we're going to talk about. Myself and Kashima Garcia, we're going to be speaking on generations and how to overcome some of the challenges that are in the workplace. So we're excited about the Blacks in Government convention and conference that they're having in Tampa in August. And so this is the first time ever I have not announced it. So this is the JC Cooley Show. So I had to give you that. And other than that, man, I have been definitely honing my craft with sports broadcasting. That's one of a big passion of mine is sports, along with other things. But I'm going to be covering the ACC Media Day in Charlotte this month, along with the Pro Football Hall of Fame Enshrinement Week in Canton, just to see a lot of these great athletes get inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame.
Man, congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. So this event that you're going to be doing, you got Black leaders from all over the country, or just in a certain area?
Yeah, so with Blacks in Government, it's definitely all everyone that's in the federal government, and I think in state government as well. And they'll be coming all over from the United States and abroad, and they're going to come to this conference or this convention that usually takes place one time a year. And they have upwards of a few thousand folks that usually show up to this event. And so I'll be speaking and doing a session about understanding generational in the workplace.
Wow. Just like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this has kind of gotten lost, especially with the state of politics, and especially with our youth and young adults, and that's really don't care. Yeah. So how do we get folks to understand, generational, that will be changed, We have to brace for change. We have to accept change. How would you go about getting folks, not just the young and adults, but also the older folks as well, to embrace what had happened, what's going to happen, and what's going to continue to happen?
Well, you know what, James, that is a great question, and it's going to take communication. You got. I had an opportunity to talk to some older folks over the last couple of days, just to see how they feel about all the things that are happening that didn't happen when they were growing up, you know. And so I don't know if you were aware, but Target just announced something that that's kind of surprised me, but I'm not too surprised, is that they're not going to be taking personal checks anymore at Target. You know how you have people that usually stand in line and write their checks? I think that is going to be eliminated in the near future. And so as I was sitting back and reading that and just thinking about stuff, I thought about like my grandparents and how they probably wouldn't succumb to using a check card, but they would have to, right? Or all these different digital currencies or platforms that we have in order to spend money. But communication is definitely going to be a big part of helping not only the elderly, because you still have people that's my age and younger that still don't understand a lot of the generational divides and generational things that occur to just all folks. So if I had to sum it up in one word, I would tell you it has to be communication. And I think if we communicate with each other, that would definitely help us all out, because there's a lot of things that's been happening, not only in the United States, but in the world. And if we're not able to communicate with each other and show each other and help each other of how to become better people, I think it's going to do more hurt, more harm than good.
You're absolutely right. And just like you mentioned, Target, things are changing in the world for the better. I mean, I believe when it comes to certain things, certain currency, and we have to accept that, because remember a few years back, Terry, the credit card, people would not even accept. No, I'm not going to get one of those things.
Oh yeah.
And I believe today, if you don't have a credit card, you might be in trouble in many ways. You know, so acceptance and understanding change is so important in what we do. And just like this topic that you chose right after the break, we're going to come back and dive deep into this topic. So I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's E36 Television, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or over 65 other platforms, welcome to the show. All you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. Or you can pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. It's your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
A black man's point of view.
James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right. Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life.
Hello. I tell you, it ain't nothing but a party thing.
I swear, y'all have the best music, man. I was in here jamming the whole time.
You know, I tell you, Todd put he hooked it up at the studio. We hook it up here as well. But you know, so it's important that we understand generations, and so Terry, I kind of think I understand. But why it was so important that you talk about this topic? I know you got an event coming up real soon. Why it was so important that you talk about this topic today, where people all across the country, across the world, get an opportunity to understand why this is so important?
Well, that's a great question, James. But it's a two-part reason why I wanted to talk about this topic. But I'll go with the first part, the most recent part first. We just recently celebrated my family reunion in South Carolina, where we had roughly about 400 people that showed up to this family reunion in Conway, South Carolina. And as I was looking around and looking at all of the people that were in my family out celebrating, having a good time, mingling, interacting with folks, I sat back and I said, wow, this is a lot of generations that are in one location at one particular time celebrating. It wasn't for nothing tragic. It wasn't for anything that we usually would bring people together. This was a family reunion when you had family from many different generations that was there. So I thought about it and I said, man, this will be a great topic to talk about. But then I also wanted to talk about this topic because I saw firsthand how when you mix generations together, how it can be a success. Being in the military and also working in the federal government at one particular time, there were times where generations would clash. One generation didn't want to listen to the other. One generation thought that their generation is better, and that still goes on a lot to today. But one of the things that I did see, and I saw how effective it was when you had all generations working together. And I don't know if you know this, but this is the first time in history that you have 5 generations working together in the workplace. That's unbelievable. And when you have that many generations, of course, you got those many different types, attitudes, adjustments, and everything else that you have to deal with when you're dealing with people, right? And so I saw firsthand how someone who was in their 70s was able to take a young person that was in their mid-20s and show them things that they didn't know that was possible. But then on the flip side of that, I had an opportunity to see someone who were in their mid-20s help out somebody that was in their 70s on something as minute as starting an account to get online and switch from using cable TV to getting onto a Fire Stick. And when I saw when this was doing when we were working, and I said to myself, I said, wow, just imagine somebody who's been around since the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, right? And you telling them they can plug something in the back of their TV and be able to watch the James Cooley Show? Unbelievable. So I saw firsthand how both when you bring generations together, how that can work. But then I also seen how when you bring generations together, no one wants to budge. So I thought that this was an important topic because we all need each other at the end of the day. There's no generation that's better than the other because we all can learn from each other.
Well, you mentioned 5 generations in the workplace. That is incredible. But there are different traits to each of the generation traits, what they value, behavior. Um, how do you, and you mentioned the 70 and the 20. How do we brace people for change? Because first of all, I want to tell you what I believe the definition, because you mentioned something about the cable TV. You remember the TV when they had the little antenna up? You can get 3 channels.
The rabbit ears. Put the rabbit ears on the top.
and you remember when sometimes the rabbit ear didn't work, and you can get a clothes hanger, put it in there,
or some aluminum foil.
and that went on for generations.
Yes.
What happened was, with the development of technology, cable TV, TNT, it came a time where they said, we're going to give this generation 5 years to get an understanding that 5 years from now, your TV is not going to work unless you have cable or something like that. Most folks, what I'm going in later generations, they're like, oh, no, I'm never going to change. I'm never going to plug this little thing in the back. So my point is this. We have to be able to adequately explain and show all generations that change is inevitable. And we want, just like AI and all of this.
Yes.
I mean, AI, you and I were not even talking about AI 10 years ago.
No.
But right now, they're only thing people talking about is AI.
Yeah.
My point is this. Behavior. Change is inevitable. Current behavior is a formula. Current behavior plus vision. Being able to see past the tip of your nose that these things are going to occur equal change. There's another formula for change.
Yeah.
Current behavior plus intolerable pain equal change. Change is going to happen. Generations need to come aboard on that one. So my point is, you can either learn with vision, understanding, and focus. Change is going. So you can learn with the brain, or you can learn with pain. But it's going to happen. And so how do we get 5 generations to understand that technology is changing, evolving like every 3 years right now, and we just have to be educated and have to be understanding of that's happening.
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question. And you talked about cable and television, right? Well, one of the unique things was I was talking to quite a few young men. I think the oldest probably was 17, and the youngest was about 11. And I told them that it used to be a time when TV cut off at midnight, right? And they were like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." It was
11 o'clock, T.
Yeah, 11 o'clock. Yeah. There was no TV after that, right? Like nothing came on. You see the screen, the white screen, the fuzz. They could not believe that. But one of the things that we would have to do, and I liken it to, just imagine the folks who grew up with 8-tracks, right? And I'm going to use the car analogy, because folks who had 8-tracks, then you tell them that they had to change from the 8-tracks in their cars to go to tapes. And then you had to tell them to go from tapes to CD to iPod now to your phone and Bluetooth. That's a lot for one generation to embrace. So thank God for like grandkids and because they keep their grandparents up to speed and kids and for that nature. So if you're definitely going to have to keep those people those generations up to speed. There a lot of them are unfortunately are dying by the wayside, but there are a lot of them that are still here and functioning in this society. And quite honestly, what we'll have to do is just get them excited about something new. That generation usually don't like to embrace change that much, but when you get them excited and tell them, hey, we can make your life just a little bit easier if you start doing this versus going that way, oftentimes they're more receptive to change. So I think that we're going to have to work together. That's going to be one of the biggest things that we're going to have to do. But that's a lot to ask, not just one particular generation, but in some aspects, my generation. I'm in the 47, almost 50-year-old club. There's a lot of changes that I had to embrace. And you mentioned AI, and I'm figuring that out now. I think that's probably one of the most fascinating things that I have seen in our society is AI.
AI is, and it's continuously evolving. It's evolving by itself because it teaches itself daily. And I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but we have to have control somewhere down the line, on that.
I agree.
We might not exist.
This is true.
T, we're gonna have to take a station break, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation. When we get back, we're gonna have to bring my producer Todd and get his thoughts.
Oh yeah,
on the conversation so far. Todd loved chatting with you. So do we, and Nasi, and then Tiana got a question for you. So
okay. Let's see what Tiana got.
Whichever platform that you're watching this on, all you have to do is go to that platform, go to the comments, ask any questions that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. Remember, it's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
In this life you are gonna grow, but there's things in this world that you gotta know. To be the best that you can be, you wanna grow real big into a strong tree. To be who you're created to be, the one who's gonna leave a legacy is you. But you got to have these 4 C's. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. Create, collaborate, then you commit with confidence. It's the 4 C's. Oh yeah. It's the 4 C's.
The last of the 4 C's that I want to talk about: create, collaborate, commit. When you commit to something, if I say, Brad, are you going to do that? What you going to say? Yes. Or if I say, Brad, you going to do that? Yeah. That's not total commitment, because when you commit, you got to commit with confidence. Confidence that you can do it. Confidence that you can grow this program. Confidence that we can save lives. Confidence that we can create opportunities to make our communities, make people's lives that's coming back in the system, to make lives that are people that are in high school and in communities and juvenile and this. We got to educate them, because the main thing that we want to build out of all of this with opportunities, we utilize the 4 C's: create, collaborate, commit with what? Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do is all.
Dr. James JC Cooley. Cooley Show. It's your life. Get it? Cooley. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. Which I told you, ain't nothing but a party thing.
That's it.
And party is not always bad. Party is enjoyment. It's being able to have discussions, being able to understand each other, being able to convey your thoughts, being able to agree and disagree. And that's a lot of the things that we have in the generations. Just like Dr. Terry mentioned 5 different generations in the workplace at the same time. And I want to discuss a little bit more about that, Terry. But we also, before we get there, I want to get my producer, Todd, thoughts on the show so far.
Great show. Terry's always a great guest. A lot of things I'm taking notes. There's a lot of notes to be taken, but I think one thing that's really important, and he mentioned about working with the youth and to get them to listen and what he's saying is that they've kind of got to be excited, but it's got to be the same for the elders as well. Like or anybody, you got to be motivated to accept change and get ready for change. Isn't that right?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head.
It is right. Hey, Terry, let's talk about generational shifts in technology adoption. I know we talked a little bit about that a few minutes ago. And what I mean by that is our youth and young adults and younger generation, they accept technology adoption because that's all they've been ever since they were 2-3 years old. They probably had a cell phone or something, even as a baby. God, Google, but that baby knew how to work whatever that was in. But we as older folks, not you, Terry. We
appreciate that.
we don't always accept things like that, and then we find ourselves behind. And the only way we can figure out how to turn the TV on or turn anything on, you had to call the grandbaby. Hey, the grandbaby know how to do all that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, most definitely.
So my question to you is, how does generation approach technology adoptions and uses from the early adoptions to the older, including digital alternatives?
Okay, so if you could repeat that again, I want to make sure I answer your question completely.
It says, how does each generation approach technology adoption and uses from early adapters to digital native or alternatives?
Yeah, so one of the things that is happening now, and honestly, I didn't know this until a couple of years ago. There's a lot of young kids that don't know how to write checks, and it's not for some people. It's not being taught in the schools anymore. And I can remember a time when there was a kid that needed to write a check, and so he was looking around, and it was like, what do I do with this? So he had to call his grandmother to have her show him how to write a check. But one of the unique things about that too, and we're talking about digital age, but because we don't want to forget about from whence we came, right? So when you writing those checks are still good, but the thing about it is this: he didn't even know how to write in cursive. That was the thing that shocked me. But one of the things that he's told me, he was like, hey, Mr. Spain, they don't teach us how to write in cursive no more. So what I did, me being the person that I am, I asked a few teachers. I was like, hey, y'all don't teach these kids how to write in cursive anymore? It's like on some of it, it's not a part of our lesson plan anymore. But so they do digital, right? Digital signatures. They have all these things that they're showing digital wise. But you have people that's in that older generation. They're not hip with that yet. They still want to sign. They still want to be able to write different things and don't let the computer take over all of the stuff for them. So I think one of the things that we're going to have to do is find a happy medium for all generations. And I think that's what's happening now.
Well, you mentioned something, but I know you got a camp coming up real soon. I saw the flyer. I was peeking.
Yeah.
Where it teaches a whole litany of things. What are some of the things that you guys are going to do in that camp?
Well, so and I'm glad that you brought that up.
It was 11 to 16 years of age, I believe.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because it's actually not my camp. It's called the group is the Baltimore Brothers in Baltimore, Maryland. They are doing a tremendous job helping these young men and showing these young men that you can be other than a basketball player, a gangster, or any of these different things. So they're actually taking them off the street. If I'm not mistaken, I think they have 60 men so far, young men so far. They're taking these young men off the street, showing them how to read, showing them how life skills courses, and all these different things that is most certainly and most definitely needed in today's society. So I definitely want to shout out the Baltimore Brothers in Baltimore. And Baltimore is like a second home to me, even though I'm from Carolina, but I've always had a soft spot for Baltimore, being up in that area for quite some time. But these brothers that are in the Baltimore area called the Baltimore Brothers, they've taken initiative upon themselves that they are not going to let the streets take these young men. So they have to meet them where they're at. So you have to bring things to want to entice these young men to come in and be productive. And I don't think it's just young men. I think it's young women as well. But to entice these young folks to want to come, want to learn, and be better. So shout out to them.
I do. They have a curriculum that version with that they're willing to share. You need to find out because I looked at that and that need to be a blueprint around the country.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. They got the backing from some of the state officials and the mayor as well. But I think it would be a good opportunity to bring Mr. Andrew Knox on to your show one day to talk about all the wonderful things that they're doing in the Baltimore area. It's a copycat, society. So when one location see that you're doing something and it's effective and it works, people want to jump on board and kind of implement that into this location where they're at. And I think that's what's happening, in particular in the Baltimore area and other areas as well.
Let's make that happen. Put me in touch with him.
Oh yeah, I most definitely will. And then we can, if you want, you can bring him on the show because he's definitely one of the spearheads to that organization, and he will definitely be able to answer any question that you want because the more the merrier. They've gotten a lot of support from the people in the city of Baltimore and the governor.
Yeah, I was in Baltimore, Washington D.C. About a week and a half ago.
Okay,
I was speaking there and also received another Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh man, you racking up.
But it's I think, and you mentioned STEM and all of that. What I saw on the flyer, I am highly interested in interviewing his group and his team to see if we can put it out to the public. I mean, however that is, they got a curriculum that maybe you and I can figure it out, and we can travel around to schools or whatever. But you too big, you too famous, you ain't got that.
never too big to help out.
No, I'm just joking, man. We're gonna take a station break, but when we come back, man, we got like 4 or 5 questions here, man.
Oh man,
Tiana, we still got to do that, and now we got Ira. So I tell you, when we get back, we're gonna have to address those questions. I tell you, your platform that you're watching us on. Oh yeah, you go to the comment 65 live streaming platforms. Thank you. All you do is go to the platform that you're watching us on, or pick up the phone, dial 1-888-344-1170. Again, that's 1-888-344-1170. I always say, hey Todd, I'm here to do this. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
There's more stories of greatness to help you overcome adversity coming up on It's Your Life with James Cooley.
On this one, I want all my women to stand up. All my real number one. Don't stop till the job is done. You know it starts with a try. Gotta win, gotta spread your wings, gotta fly. Lift up your head. Don't stop till it's down with the bed. No matter how hard it seems, gotta keep on pressing, gotta keep that dream. Be the best you can be. Go get your victory. Throw your hands up in the sky. Gotta be number one when you win, and you will see that there's a story, man. Now follow the plan. Gotta raise up, be a leader, make a change. It's time for you now. Take a stand.
Doctor James JC Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Absolutely fantastic guest here, Terry Spain. Hey, Todd, is he hitting home runs every time he addresses one of these topics?
Definitely. Like I said, I'm taking notes here. Lots of good stuff. I'm also going to try to emulate your dance moves there, JC.
Oh, man, you saw that.
Letsy's going to be going like this.
Oh, yeah. He was definitely in a zone over there. I tell you that.
When you're having fun, man. When you're having fun, you're able to express yourself freely. I'm talking about who cares what people think. I mean, about nothing like that. But you also are able to convey your thoughts honestly and truthfully. You know, I tell you what, we got about 8.5 minutes left in the show. We got 2 questions that have to be answered by Terry. And I tell you, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is to go to the comments on whichever platform that you watching this on, or pick up the phone. 1-888-344-1170. Syndicated primetime radio, KCBQ, AM 1170 Answer, FM 96.1, and over 65 live streaming platforms. Michelle, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. And Terry, we got 2 questions for you from audience participation. One is from Tiana Chanel. She wants to know what you think are some ways to overcome the challenges of generational diversity.
Oh, wow. Tiana's bringing the heat already, huh? She coming off the, off the bench, bringing the heat. But that's a great question, Tiana. Thank you for asking that. But so some of the ways that we can overcome generational diversity, it's one of the ways that I mentioned before, is communication and being open to change. We definitely have to realize that times were different in certain areas and certain areas of life. And some of the things that were acceptable at certain times are no longer acceptable. And so if we can bring people up to speed about that and then actually understand and come to talk to folks and communicate with folks about what bothers them or what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, I think that would definitely do wonders. And that's huge. And that's definitely huge and needed in today's society.
Wow. Thank you, Terry. We have another question from Ira Lexi. How can we gel together generations when it comes to spirituality? As a pastor, I find it hard to get the generations to adopt each other's spiritual worship differences. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, being I'm a PK, so but one of the things doing my travels and having the opportunity to travel all over the world, I had to realize that not everybody worship the same way I do, and I didn't want to come across as if I was proselytizing and trying to get people to believe that my religion was better than theirs or what have you. But I think one of the things that we can do is just respect people's cultures and respect the way that they worship, and respect the if they don't worship, because you have people that don't worship as well. So I believe that one of the things that we can come together and say, if we're all here for one common goal, and that's to help folks and make people become better people, then we can use those we can find more commonalities than we can find differences. And that will bring people together, because when you start coming in a divisive manner and saying my religion is better than yours, and your religion doesn't do this, and your religion doesn't do that, all the thing you're going to do now is just cause even more of a rift between people.
Well, I got a great question there, man. So Terry, what are the ways to bridge those generational gaps and promote mutual understanding and respect, not just from a religious perspective, but from a life perspective?
Yeah, so some of the ways to bridge it is just to get out and talk to folks. Growing up overseas, I think I mentioned to you in a previous segment, I grew up in Italy. I would have never probably corresponded or even spoken to an Italian in my younger age, because I didn't have that opportunity to do so. But when I understood and had an opportunity to look at people's cultures and how they appreciate life, I found that they were more similar than different than myself. And so we can adopt that same mantra, right, when it comes to worship, or we can adopt that same mantra as it relates to the beliefs. As I mentioned before, not everybody's going to believe what you believe, but we can we can see the good in each human. I think that will be the best thing for us.
Wow. This is a tough one right here, because the economy, politics situation. I don't talk politics on my show. You already know that.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of folks out there that is upset with a lot of things. I believe they lack understanding. So how have the economic conditions experienced by each generation influenced their financial behavior and outlook? And how can we get them to understand that their current situation is not their final destination?
Yeah, so that's a tough one, because each generation is different. When you got that silent generation, they came out of the Great Depression, right? And World War II. So they were working and trying to make a way for themselves, just as very similar to like the baby boomers. The baby boomers came out of the Vietnam era. And then you also have my generation, Generation X, also known as the latchkey generation. Then you have the millennials. And then also there's another generation that has formed, and that's the generational alphas. But those are the young people that are from 2013, I want to say, to present, right? So we definitely have to understand, but we have to get it right. I think it's Generation Z, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I think it's Generational Alpha. That is the only generation to like completely be born into the 21st century.
Well, I you know what?
How powerful is that?
Maybe I'm getting old. I ain't never heard of Generation Alpha.
Yeah. 2013 to present. But look, they're the first generation to be completely born into the 21st century.
Absolutely.
So we need to mold and these young people, because these are the young people that are going to be the decision making and making all the decisions in the next 30, 40 years. But also one of the unique things is they're the generation that's growing up with the advanced technology, like we talked about before, AI. These young kids are seeing that now. Just imagine when you and I were growing up, we didn't even, I had a typewriter, you know, but look how far we've come from a typewriter to now you could tell somebody to think for you.
Wow. Hey, Dr. Terry, you got 1 minute. What is your 1 minute takeaway that you want our viewers and our listeners and everybody to get from this absolutely fantastic conversation that we have?
I wish I had more than 1 minute, but I'll make it fast. To all generations out there, we understand that, because I'm guilty of this as well. When I say my generation is better than the other generation and things of that nature, and we have these generational wars, quote unquote, right? But just imagine how powerful we could be if we all came together as a generation, and it doesn't have to be from nothing tragic. It could just be for us trying to help this generation alpha that's coming through now and making them better. I think one of the things that we have to do, and we should do, and we need to do, is hear people out. Get to know people that you don't necessarily talk to on a daily basis, and find out 3 unique things about that person. And I'm a firm believer that if you do that, you'll learn more about that person, and it'll make you a better person as well. So from JC Cooley to that young generational alpha, get to know another person besides the people that you talk to on a daily basis.
Hey, Dr. Terry Spain, thank you so much. You know you got to stand the invitation on the show. So thank you so much. Another outstanding interview. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank Toddy, that's what I call it, KCBQ, Studio FM 96.1 and AM 1170.
Dave Stahl here for Racer Radio. If you're into motorsports, we cover it all. Check it out every Sunday. With Brittany Sandoval, the racing school teacher, and me, Dave Stahl.